Welcome back, everyone, for today's video. This is round 2 of the September Action Chess Championship held here at Chess Zone. Now, for you guys, round 1 did not go ideally. I was totally winning, and then I threw my advantage and ultimately ended up losing against someone significantly lower rated. So, if you have not watched that video, I recommend you go swing over to that video right after watching this one. And this game you're about to see here is probably one of the most insane games I have ever played in my life. This could easily qualify for a Guess the ELO episode on Gotham Chess. This could easily qualify for a low ELO battle on chess.com. This game is so weird that I don't think anything will come close to that in a very long time. And my opponent here is Carlos Bellamy. He also subscribed to the channel. Shout out to Carlos for subscribing to Dan the Man 123. Appreciate you. So, yeah, we both lost our first games, and yeah, this game is just going to be pure insanity. So, hope you guys are ready. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight into the action. So, I begin the game with e4. Carlos plays c5, knight f3, d6, and I played my signature canal attack with bishop to b5 check. Carlos played the move bishop d7, I took the bishop, and he took back with the queen. Next, I castled, and he went g6, preparing to FIANCHETTO. I played the move d4, bishop g7, and I go knight c3. Apparently, in inaccuracy, the engine just wants to either take on c5, and then go queen e2 to prepare the rook going to d1, or just push the pawn to d5 to gain even more central space. I guess I was playing very principled, taught to get my pieces out. So I played the move knight c3, which loses a tad of advantage. So knight c3, Carlos trades on the center, and then plays the move a6. Now a6 looked a bit weird because I was expecting him to just develop his knight and prepare castling, but he doesn't do that. And based on his queen being on d7, I noticed there's a weakness on b6 is a weak square. So I hop my knight into d5, threatening to fork the queen and the rook with knight b6. That forces Carlos to go back to d8 with queen to d8, in which case he just basically lost the tempo. And yeah, a6 just didn't really make any sense at this moment in time. So after queen to d8, I play the move c3, solidifying my knight on d4 and opening up possibilities for queen a4 check in the near future. Carlos played the move e6 here to try to boot my knight out of d5, but I ignore it for the time being and I play the move queen a4 check. Now, queen a4 looks good in my opinion because Carlos can't go here because due to the queen being pinned, knight c7 is a fork, and I will end up winning the exchange. Assuming my knight doesn't get out, but it could have. If it could get out, then I would be just up a full rook. I'm just assuming my knight wouldn't have gotten out. So after queen a4, also, black can't really go here because I would just take and take the knight and then take back again, and my position would be extremely powerful. Also, I don't think he could play b5 because I would just take on b5 due to the pin on the rook. So yeah, basically the only move for Carlos is knight d7. But even that, I still like my position. And here I play a move. I play a really flashy move, bishop g5. Apparently it was better a move ago, but it's still fine here. The point is that actually, the crazy thing here is that I didn't think the bishop could be taken. The crazy thing here is that this is actually best. And you might be saying, what? Just knight c7. And here, king d8, that blunders the fork. Okay, so, and same with king f8. But king e7 holds equality because after knight takes rook, just develop your knight to h6. And yeah, that knight, if your knight tries to leave, then just rook c8, and your knight is basically trapped. And yeah, white has no advantage, just grabbing the rook like that. So black would just get 2 minor pieces for the rook. So, surprisingly, taking the bishop is fine. Carlos didn't take, he got scared, and he played the move knight f6. And I like this because I traded knights, and he has to take with the bishop, the knight's pinned, and obviously don't take with the queen. So he played bishop takes f6, and due to this weird Sicilian he has played, I already have a really, I'm building an advantage here. And after bishop f6, I don't really understand why bishop h6 is not good, because you're not letting black castle for the time being. Best move here was just to trade bishops, and after queen takes, to go knight b5, and to attack on c7 and d6. In fact, you can't defend both knight c7 and knight d6, so white would just be winning a pawn here. But I like the idea of keeping the king in the center for as long as possible, so that's why I abstained from trading bishops and wanted to make use of my bishop on h6. And at this point, we each have about the same amount of time. I have 51 minutes, and he has 50 minutes. Carlos played the move queen c7, trying to castle the other way, and I put my rook on d1. And here, I was, I guess, let's see, is long castling a move? Yeah, I was totally expecting long castles. So Carlos, if you're watching this video, please tell me why you didn't castle long, and instead played the delayed bomb cloud with king e7. Like, wasn't your idea to castle long? I don't really get why you put your king on e7. So, in the comments, please tell me your thought process behind this. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, going back to the game. After king e7, I see a king in the center. I try to open lines and files to it. I play f4. I don't care if I have to sacrifice a pawn or two. I'm just trying to open the center because that's where black's king is. But somehow this position's only 0.8. I thought at least it would be at least 1.5 or something. And I felt really confident, really proud of my position. Knight c5, attacking the pawn on e4 and my queen. I play queen c4 to pin the knight, and after b5, the funny thing is my queen is almost trapped. Well, just happened to notice that. Queen e2 is the only safe square for my queen, so that was just a kind of a funny observation. Carlos retreated his knight to d7, and you can already see that my advantage is growing a little bit more every move. It's because of the black king in the center and white starting to build up an attack. And here I play the move g4, which drops some of the advantage, but my idea was to play g5, maybe f5. I wanted to try to shove that bishop away, instead of basically trapping the bishop. Like, let's say black does a random move, just to illustrate the point. I would have played g5 here, and I was wanting black to just take my knight, and I would have these pawns in the center that could advance and try to pressure black's pawns around his king. So that was why I wanted to go g4. So Carlos played the move rook h to g8 to try to give his bishop some room after I kick it away, which apparently isn't a good move. After g5, black should just take the knight on d4, and I was hoping this would happen because I would get the big boy center with the C, D, and F, the D, E, and F pawns all lined up next to each other, ready to advance. So Carlos played the move bishop to g7, and I'm like, okay, let's trade. And soon we're getting close to the title of the video, the FIANCHETTOED Rook. I bet none of you guys have seen a rook in place of a bishop, but this is one of the aspects of why this game was truly bananas. So yeah, tell your friends that you've seen a FIANCHETTOED Rook on g7. They won't believe you until you show them this game. Anyway, going back to the game. After rook takes g7, I play the move e5, and I'm no longer better because, well, one, black can just close down the center, and the king is safe. But here Carlos actually traded, still not bad. And I was actually hoping I'm like, oh no, my pawn. If he plays queen takes, I have a fork, right? And if he takes with a knight, then I would sacrifice my queen on e5, and then get the fork anyway, and be up a knight. So my pawn wasn't hanging. So hopefully, I was hoping he would take. And yeah, after f takes, he played the move rook c8 to stop that idea. There's no knight c6 because the rook would guard that square. So now I actually have to defend my pawn on e5. Well, no, I don't do it yet. I go queen f3. And the point is that if queen takes, again, knight c6, I would win the exchange, not just a queen. And if he took with the knight, then queen f6 is just devastating. Because the only way to regard his rook and the king, and it was with the king f8, and in which case I would have this. And it's just all over. So that pawn isn't hanging yet either. King e8 is what Carlos played, best move. And now the pawn is hanging, and I played the move rook d to e1 to defend it. Carlos played the move queen to b6 to pin my knight, and I played the move rook to e4. My idea was to try to maybe put the rook on f4 and move my try to double with the rooks. Queen a7, I guess black's sort of waiting. And I think for a bit, we tried about half an hour at this point. I ended up playing queen h3. And yeah, I'm making room for the other rook to attack on the f-file. And I'm trying to invade with the queen to h6. Maybe some sacrificing on with knight e6 could be a possibility. So Carlos played queen c5. I played queen to h6. And king f8 is what Carlos chose to do. I play rook f2 to threaten to take on e6 with the knight to threaten the queen and the king because the pawn was pinned. And this is where the iconic rook fianchetto begins. The king is in castle-like position, and in place of a bishop, there's a rook that cannot move at all. So that rook, so there's the fianchettoed rook that you guys have been waiting for. And it doesn't stop there. This position is a draw, but I thought I was better because black's rook how is black's rook on g7 ever going to get into the game? It's almost as if you're a piece up. So I play the move knight b3, queen to c7, and here we each had about 15 minutes. Rook f to e2, rook to d8. I played the move rook to d4 to sort of tactically defending my pawn. Like if he does this, then I would just take, and yeah, this would result in loss of material. So after rook d4, Carlos went queen b6, and again I'm better. I had to play queen. I just had to slide my queen out of the way and maybe swing it over to the d-file to help participate. But I don't do that. I ended up playing the move king to g2 to unpin my rook. And here's the second crazy part, the king walk. So after queen to c6 check, I don't really want to go backwards because he would just go back to b6 and pin my rook. So I go forward, and after rook to e8 and rook d6, another blunder. After queen to c7, I'm like, I think for a long time here, it's like 5-6 minutes. Okay, because I noticed that knight takes e5 is always a threat. Like, let's just say I play a random move. Knight takes e5. A very powerful move. It's because he gets rid of the pawn defending my rook, and if I try to move my rook, he just threatens to discover attacks. So, and there's really no other way to guard the pawn except with king to f4. How many of you guys have seen a king go to f4 and a rook fianchettoed instead of a bishop? I bet none of you guys are. Put your hand down if you raise your hand and stop lying to yourself. So after king to f4, Carlos played queen to c4 check, again throwing the advantage back to equality. And I played the move knight to d4 with 8 minutes left, and he played knight c5. And again, I'm having an advantage. Just had to move my queen out of h6 where it wasn't really doing anything, and have it participate somewhere else. And anyway, I played the move rook to d2 here. King h8, and after rook c6, Carlos offered me a draw, and I said make a move first, and he did. He played queen f1 check, and at this point, we each had about 5, 6, 7 minutes, something like that, and I could have played on because based on his rating, I would have lost even more points, drawing a 1593, but I didn't at the same time want to risk losing because that would have been even worse. So I was saying play on or go for the draw. I ended up going for the draw because I wasn't even understanding what was happening. This position is too good to be true, and I just wanted to have my brain relax before the third game. So we ended up getting a draw against Carlos. Our score is 0.5 out of 2. Next 2 games will be posted shortly. And if you like content like this, please don't forget to smash that subscribe button below. Leave a comment. Leave any thoughts you have. And hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.